So recently there's been a lot of discourse and talk about this new-ish rapper, I won't say she's fairly new, Dochi, right? And it kind of started, I want to say after the Grammys, or like right before them. Everyone was like, she's an industry plant, all this stuff, you know, blah, blah, blah. The usual thing I feel like you hear once a month if you're on the internet about literally everybody. And over time, I feel like I've really seen this kind of turn from like everybody is like, oh, I feel like she's being forced on me a little bit, to like, I have a huge opinion about Dochi as an artist, especially because she's now, like, I think her song's like #1, it's everywhere, even if it's not #1. Like, she's kind of had this meteoric rise, and because of that, everyone's going like, oh, you know, she's an industry plant, and that turns into she's being forced on me, and that turns into like, I hate her, hate her, hate her. This video is not going to be about that by any means. One, because I think it's stupid. Like, I don't care at all. I feel like it's like, the industry plant thing's always been so funny to me, because I just don't get where it comes from. Like, if you believe that the arts, like, these industries are like genuine meritocracy still, that's a you problem. Like, if you think, and honestly, Dochi is very talented. I think she deserves, like, pretty much all the success she has. I mean, like, you know, I'm no judge of how much success somebody deserves, but she's not an artist I'm looking at all being like, I don't know how you got here. Like, her album's great. Like, I don't know where this is coming from. Yeah, no, I don't really care about that discourse in general. I just think that, you know, the reason I want to talk about this is because I was scrolling through my YouTube feed, I want to say last night, maybe the day before that, and I saw like a bunch of video essays being like, my thoughts on the Dochi discourse and like the Dochi drama. And then, you know, she went to the Met Gala and she yelled at one of her like helpers because of an umbrella or something. I don't even know. Again, like, I feel like all this is so, the fact that I saw, and I didn't even watch the video, so sorry for this guy who made this video catching a stray right now. But the fact that I'm seeing videos that are like 20 plus minutes being like my take on the Dochi situation is like, what are we doing? And I want to start this video talking about this because I think it's a current example of something we've been seeing for a while, where there just needs to be discourse around everything. It can't be, you know, I'm probably going to continue using Dochi as an example here. I don't want you to take any of this as like my thoughts on her as an artist. Like I said right out the gate here, I do think her album's amazing. I do like all that. But for the people that don't, which that's completely valid too, you know, it's art, you're allowed to have whatever opinion you want on it, I think some of you guys should just go, I don't like it. Like, it's fine if you are just like, I don't like this music. You know, this idea, I think, like, I'm seeing a couple things. One, the internet is, and this is probably gonna be the larger point of this video, the internet's definitely made it so it's like you gotta have an opinion on everything. I don't know why. I think that's a question I'm interested in answering. But two, and maybe smaller, this is like a trend maybe I think I see more in my own little echo chambers, that, like, people aren't okay with just not liking something. Like, it's okay to listen to a song and go, huh, I didn't really like that. I don't know why. Or like, you don't even have to articulate it. You're allowed to put on a song in your car and go, not for me, and turn it off. Like, you're not Anthony Fantano. You don't have to go make a video about it. Like, that's one of the reasons I'll never, like, do open and about criticism of other art on the channel. One, because, you know, if you guys have been here for a minute now, you know I don't really believe in that too heavily. But two, just because, like, sometimes I hear stuff and I'm just like, I don't really know why. And then sometimes I hear stuff and I'm like, oh, I really like this. No idea why either. And I feel like that's okay. You know, I think it's awesome to have a conversation to be able to articulate why you do like stuff. But I think it's also completely fine if you're like, you know, I don't like this thing. And what people do is they're not even okay with just kind of figuring out how to articulate why they don't like something. They need to figure out some sort of like virtuous reason almost. Like, that's where like the industry plant thing always comes in. It's like, this person is an industry plant. Like, this is a crime, and they feel like it's like they need to call it out or something. It's all just so bizarre to me, because like, just typing out the words, or even just keeping the words to yourself of I don't like this, would be probably like save you a lot of time. I mean, I know I don't have time to be thinking about these artists that much whenever I'm, you know, going about my normal day. I already don't have enough time in the day to consume all the art I do like. Why would I, one, consume art that I don't like consistently, and two, spend my time trying to come up with reasons that make me sound good on Twitter about it? Like, I think we need some hobbies. But the main thing I want to talk about here is not this. It's about just this idea that everybody needs to have an opinion on everything now. I don't think I'm the first person to point this out. I feel like I've heard this actually a lot. I wish I knew where I heard it a lot so I could maybe say like, oh, you know, give somebody a little credit who started this conversation, because I know it's not me. And I wonder where this came from. Like, I think if you guys have been watching for a while, you probably know I hate coming up with a simple like answer to things, because I think, one, maybe it comes from the format a little bit. You know, I'm coming here to talk to you all, so I think if I were like, it's simple, it's this, you know, that'd be a little bit of a boring episode. So I think maybe that's part of it. But I also think, too, a lot of the times people like look around at things and they're like, oh, it must be this. Like, a lot of the people now are like, why is, oh man, I can't even think of an example. That's rough. I don't know, they'll be like, say they're like, why is all this stuff bad now? Like, why is everybody's attention span, and like, why does nobody have time to make good art anymore? Let's go with that. Let's go with that. I completely just fumbled that whole segment there, but let's go with that. Let's go with the good art. They're like, why are there no great art scenes anymore, or anything like that? And the first thing they jump to is like, well, social media. Like, you know, people do that a lot. And I mean, there's obviously a correct element to a simple answer. Always, you know, it doesn't come from nowhere, the reason that people think that. Or not always, I guess, but a lot of the time. But I think it's nice to, like, kind of look into things a little bit more, too. And that's why, completely after just fumbling that whole segment there, let's return back to the main point here. I think a lot of people have come at this with the answer of, like, when you're scrolling online, you see a million posts about a million things, right? Like, I'm trying to think of my feed right now. You know, I'm seeing a lot of stuff about like a new music video from an artist, a new movie that's out, you know, some stuff about like politics, right? And then I think there's like a controversy going on with some streamer or something, let's say, you know. These are four things that aren't even, I don't even think they're on my timeline or on my feed right now, but usually these are like four general things that'll be out, you know, new music, new movie, some controversy, and some political stuff, right? That's always kind of on there. And I think maybe it's kind of an effect of like, since I'm seeing people, I'm going to use Twitter as an example here, because I'm more familiar with that than like a TikTok or something like that. If I see, I can go through like 100 tweets in a minute. You know, I can scroll. Maybe I'll process about 50 of those tweets, right? Within those 50 tweets, when I see 10 tweets about each subject, and then 10 about some other stuff, you know, I see 10 tweets about these subjects, right? I have no choice but to be like, all of these are of equal importance. And then if I'm seeing 10 different takes that are vastly different, I'm now like it has gone from like, there are these four things happening, to there are four things that are extremely controversial and come from a series of angles and are, you know, like, these, it's very easy to look at that and go like, this has now become as complex as like interpreting Plato's work, because of how many different interpretations there are on my timeline right now and how many people are chiming in. And I think because of that, people feel they need to have an opinion on everything. And I'm actually, I use those four as an example for a reason, right? Because I think that there's kind of a byproduct of this, and people aren't cutting through the noise enough. Well, the reality is, too, there's a lot more noise than I'm making it out to be. Like, it's usually not those four things going on. It'll be like, there's 3 new movies out, there's 10 different discourses about music going on, about artists and videos and songs, there's 100 different political things happening. Usually there's only a controversy or two at a time that I'm seeing. But there's so much noise, right? And you already got to cut through that. But it's almost like everything becomes a distraction then. If we're being honest, and you know, I'm generalizing here because I'm using fake things, but most of the time, maybe 6 of those political things are important. 1 or 2 of the pop culture discourses might be enjoyable. That's about it, though. You know, that's like I'd say that's a more typical kind of like real assessment of what's going on and like how important I should be treating it, at least. Not that all those things are theoretically an equal importance. You know, depending on what you care on, what you want to discuss. I mean, the political aspect of things, I guess, could be a little different, but I don't want to dwell on that too much here. Those things are theoretically of equal importance, but to me, as an individual, they should not be, right? Like, I should scroll past about half that. But, like, I just feel like the way these things work, I almost feel like I'm dumb if I don't have a take on something now. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, if I don't have a well thought out argument as to why I believe what I believe and what side of X controversy I'm going to take, then I am missing out on something. I don't have an opinion. You know, like, you're just so encouraged to think something. And that's where it comes back to this whole Dochi thing, right? I think it's interesting because when everybody has to think something, I think by a byproduct of that, the dumbest and most intelligent thing will be thought at the same time and presented to you in the same way. Like, for an example, right now on my feed, I'll see, you know, Dochi is making good music, and I don't care about this discourse. To me, that's the most intelligent thing, because as you know, that's what I believe at this point, right? But right next to that will be a tweet of somebody going like, why Dochi is the Antichrist explained in 10 slides or less. And those things are being presented to me in the same way. I think that's really bad. And I don't know what to do about that. Because, like, on the one hand, I think these people should have equal voices. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say, like, I think we should gatekeep thoughts on the Dochi controversy. I think that's a bad solution too. But there's something really bad about presenting everything in the exact same way, no matter how dumb it is. You know what I mean? Dochi's, like, not the Antichrist, but now I'm having that explained to me with the same amount of credence as somebody just giving a good, you know, normal take. And I think the other thing that comes from it is, like, these conversations will always spiral off because of it. Like I was alluding to at the beginning, where, like, this conversation kind of starts with, like, oh, you know, I think she's been forced on me a little bit, or I think maybe she's having some help from the industry, which I think is a dumb thing already. But it starts at a place that's maybe not reasonable, but not unusual, and certainly not, like, damaging. You know what I mean? But you need to get attention on these platforms, right? And when there's a million takes in all directions, and you need to get attention, the thing that gets you attention is not having the most level-headed take on it. Like, this right here will never go viral. Like, if I were to tweet right now on camera, I think these reasonable things about this whole discourse, never would it go viral, right? But if I were to go, you know, take it up to 11 and say the most insane thing I could think of, that'll go viral. So, and that's everybody's like goal, you know what I mean? Viral in the sense of, like, they want to get more clicks, more traffic, like all that stuff. So it encourages people to do that when there's this much discourse about everything all the time. And I think that's really bad. I think it's bad, and I think it's bad for, like, an actual good amount of reasons. Like, it's bad because it's having us focus on the wrong stuff. It's bad because it's, I think, putting out a lot of bad stuff out there with this wrong stuff. It's making it harder to cut through the noise and get to the important stuff. And I feel like one day, when that important stuff really comes to roost, we're all going to be like, huh, what were we focusing on back then? And we weren't even distracted. You know, back in the 1950s, I've heard people go like, oh, when the televisions came out, everyone was like, these kids are distracted, they'll never be focused on anything. Now it's like, people are distracted not by a television, but by having to give their thoughts on a million things that don't matter, and seeing a million thoughts that don't matter about those million things that don't matter. So I'm really just here to encourage, I think we should all scroll past these things a lot more and go, I don't care. That's what I've been trying to do a lot more, certainly. Sometimes I fail, like I came here today and cut into the discourse for no reason. Whether I wanted to or not, I ended up doing that. So, you know, I mean, like, hey, what are you gonna do? This is the painting. It's basically the same thing. I'm just trying to nail the feeling I want to get in them. I've been doing stuff like this for a couple days now, so hopefully it's not going to get too boring for you guys. Probably going to be the same thing tomorrow, if I'm just being honest. So my bad if you don't like these, but I'm just trying to get the right feeling to these. I tried to add a glare to the eyes to kind of help that today. It didn't work though. I would really like to have the eyes be more of a center because I want them to be the only completed piece and let them frame how you interpret the rest of the sketch here. Because I think, maybe this will be the subject of tomorrow's Paint and Talk, if the eyes look sad, maybe the lines will too. But that will be discussed tomorrow. For now, I'd love your discourse on this discourse that happened in this video here today. Down in the comments below. And until next time, guys, gals, and pals, my name is Max Dice. This has been Paint and Talk episode 139. I'm here every morning, painting and talking with you all.